Welcome back. I'm Larry. So now we're going to be working on my 351 Cleveland, and we're going to be talking about head gasket thickness. So let's jump into it and take a look at what I got. All right, so you got your engine built and you're about to install cylinder heads and you're ready for the head gasket, and you want to know how thick of a head gasket should you run. How do you calculate that? How do you figure that? Well, I'll tell you how I did it. Now, I used Summit Racing's compression ratio calculator. Is it a 100% in-depth accurate calculator? No. I think Diamond Pistons has one that's way more intensive, that asks you like top ring gap, or not gap, but top ring depth from the top of the piston to the top of the ring. I didn't get that crazy with it. It's not that serious to me. I just wanted a rough estimate, and Summit Racing has a good one. So, and I will share the link to that if you want to use the same one and see how it does. So for my application, I used a 40 thousandths thick head gasket. Now, how did I determine that? So what you need to do, you need to know, the calculator is going to ask you piston to deck clearance, which means how far down in the deck is your piston. For my application, we have 40 thousandths. Here, you want to measure the deck here and then measure the piston and see what that is. And see, if you got a dish piston, you want to measure to the edge of the piston. And then you also want to measure from the edge of the piston to the dish to see how far of a dish you have, because they ask you piston to deck clearance. If your piston is a dome piston, dish piston, how much of a dome or dish. If it's a flat top, you just put 0. They want to know your stroke. For mine is a 3.5. They want to know the bore size. So this is a 4 and 30 over bore. So it would be 4.030 for my application. And then they want to know your cylinder head CCs. And for me, this is a 60 cc head. The stock Cleveland, I think, is about 72, 73. But this one's a 60 cc. And then you can put in your desired head gasket thickness, and that will tell you what compression ratio you are running. So for me, I typed in all my information, and then I used a 30 thousandths head gasket. I just threw a number in there first to see. 30 thousandths crush is what you want to look at when you look at a head gasket. You want to look at what is the thickness crushed. This one's a 40 thousandths, but I typed in 30 the first time. It gave me almost 11 to 1. Don't want that. I wanted 10 and a half. I put in 40 thousandths crush, and it gave me like 10.5. It was like perfect. It might have been 10.6, but it was right there at 10 and a half to 1 compression, which is exactly what I wanted. And this is, like I said, a 40 thousandths. This is a Cometic brand, multi-layer steel, because I'm running an aluminum head. I always recommend using a multi-layer steel when you're running aluminum head to cast iron, because aluminum contracts and expands at different rates with temperature than cast iron does, and it kind of has to be able to move. Whereas with a cast iron head on a cast iron block, they move together. It doesn't matter. But on this, the multi-layer steel will give the head a little bit more room to move, we'll say, as it needs to, as it expands and contracts to the heat. So I went with Cometic. They make great gaskets. And I did pick this one up off of Amazon. And it is a Cometic brand. It's not like an off-the-wall brand. It's Cometic. You can see right there. You see, Cometic gasket. And there is the information on this head gasket. You see 351 Cleveland, 4.100 bore, 40 thousandths MLS head gasket. And like I said, your 40 thousandths is always your crushed thickness. So when you're looking online and you're looking at head gaskets, it says 30, 40, 50, whatever you buy, that is your crushed thickness, and that's what you want to know for how to calculate this. And that's how you do it. So for my application, I should have about a 10 and a half to 1 compression motor, which is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. It will not cause me pre-detonation or spark knock. And I'll still be able to run regular as long as my timing is right. So if I want to run regular, I usually run non-ethanol 89 anyway, or premium. But if I want to run regular, I can. And that's the good thing about it. So just want to share that. It's simple, it's easy, and yeah. You can factor this in like yourself. Like I said, use a dial, a gauge up here. Check your clearance here. Like I said, you want to do, like I said, check the deck to the piston for a flat top, and then for a dish, you want to check that to the edge of the piston. But for a dish, you want to check the edge of the piston to the dish and see how much of a dish you have, because you want to factor that in as well. For me, mine's a flat top, so I just did 0. They have more in-depth ones where you can do the liquid and fill this in. I didn't get that crazy with it. It's not that serious to me. I'm not trying to find the exact hundreds of thousandths of accuracy on compression ratio here. It's not that serious. So But that's how you want to factor that in. It's a good, simple way for a home builder to figure it out. And like I said, I'll leave a link in the description for the calculator that I used. Hope this helps. Alrighty guys, well that's all there is for this one. I just want to share that real quick because sometimes people might not know how to factor in compression ratio and determine that. So like me, off the top of my head, I was thinking 30 thousandths crush. If I had ordered that, I'd have been stuck with like 11-to-1, which is fine. It's more compression, which means it gives you a little bit more power, but it also is harder to maintain that, trying to control that spark knock problem. You know, once you start getting to 11, over 11, like 11 would be my max. If I was 11-to-1, I would be okay. But that's when you got to start really paying attention and really starting to worry, we'll say. But anything over 11, yeah, that's when you're really, you know, you got to be careful about your timing and everything. So, but yeah, that's it. Like I said, that was a 40 thousandths and is a stock replacement thickness. The stock gaskets are 40 thousandths, so it's they're easy to find. When I called Cometic, and I didn't call them, when I looked up their website, they said like 4 weeks to ship. I went to Amazon, same part number, had it the next day. So that is something to keep in mind. If you got time, then it don't really matter if you got to wait for it. If you're like me and you're like ready for them now, then you need to go ahead and see if you can find another alternative. I looked Summit, I had to pay shipping on that. I got free shipping on Amazon, and I got it the next day. So there's that. A little bit of tidbit of information. Hope it helps somebody. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. You can now become a member. A link is in the description. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the drop box down below. And that's all there is for this one. So until next time, I'll see you on the next one. Take care.